Today we're going to understand the topic of PEEP, which is positive end expiratory pressure. All right. So this is a pressure which is applied at the end of expiration, but it exists throughout the respiratory cycle. It is like a baseline pressure that is applied throughout the respiratory cycle. This PEEP, okay, is going to help to reinflate the alveoli, all right, which have been collapsed. Okay, so it will help to reinflate the collapsed alveoli. It will help to maintain this inflation of the collapsed alveoli, and it will also reduce the threshold which is required for alveolar inflation during inspiration. Okay. Now, in turn, what is going to happen is that this is going to help to improve the functional residual capacity of the patient. It's going to improve the ventilation perfusion ratio. It's going to improve the oxygenation, improve the ventilation, and thus going to reduce the work of breathing of this patient. All right. So there is also something known as physiological peak, which is there in normal human beings. It is called as physiological peak. So let's understand that. So there is some amount of transpulmonary pressure, which is helping to keep the alveoli open. Okay. So let's understand that this is the equation of physiological peak. At the end of expiration, the airway pressures are going to be 0 centimeters of water, whereas the pleural pressures are always negative. All right. So here the average pleural pressure taken is minus 5 centimeters of water. Okay. So when you solve this equation, it comes to 5 centimeters of water. So it is this pressure, that is the transpulmonary pressure, which is responsible for keeping the alveoli open and patent in a normal breathing, normal physiological state. So what are the indications of using PEEP? The indications are intrapulmonary shunting, which is also causing refractory hypoxemia in the patient. So what is intrapulmonary shunting? What is a shunt? A shunt is when a particular area of the lung is not getting any kind of ventilation, but is only getting perfusion. All right. So it is not like there is a reduced VQ. The VQ cannot be calculated because there is absolutely no ventilation. There is only perfusion occurring. So that is a shunt area. All right. So if there are areas of shunting in the lung, okay, there's a lot of intrapulmonary shunting occurring, and there is also refractory hypoxemia. All right, wherein the PaO2 is less than 60 millimeters of mercury, the FiO2 is required is more than 50%. That is, this such high amount of oxygen is required, yet the PaO2 is not improving. All right. So this is a situation wherein PEEP will help the patient, all right, in oxygenation status. Then the PEEP also helps improve the functional residual capacity. It helps to improve the lung compliance. So the complications of using PEEP are, first, there can be decreased cardiac output and reduced BP. Now, how does this occur? Because PEEP is a positive pressure which is applied on the alveoli, on the airways. So this positive pressure is going to cause positive intrathoracic pressure. So increased intrathoracic pressure is going to then get transmitted to the mediastinum, to the greater vessels, all right, within the thorax. So this is going to impede the venous return to the heart. It's going to reduce the cardiac output, and thus it's going to reduce the blood pressure of this patient. So always ensure that if there is hypotension occurring, is the patient's volume status corrected? If not, you should correct the volume status first. Does the patient require low dose inotropic support to maintain the blood pressure? If yes, low dose inotropic supports can be started in along with the PEEP. All right. Then it can also cause increase in the intracranial pressure. Again, the same mechanism, that is the increase in intrathoracic pressures, are going to impede the venous return from the head neck area, because of which there's going to be venous distension, venous engorgement, all right, because of which there can be increase in the intracranial pressure. Then the other complication is barotrauma. So barotrauma in the form of subcutaneous emphysema can occur. There could be crepitation, all right. So in a mechanically ventilated patient who is receiving PEEP, if crepitations are extreme, if you can palpate crepitus, it could suggest that the patient could have had barotrauma. Barotrauma can also be seen in the form of tension pneumothorax, in the form of pneumothorax, pneumomediastinum, all right. And this barotrauma risk is going to be very high if the peak inspiratory pressures go beyond 30 centimeters of water, if the mean airway pressures go beyond 50 centimeters of water, if the PEEP that is used is more than 10 centimeters of water, then this patient is at risk of barotrauma. Now let's just quickly understand what is auto PEEP. So what we understood right now, this was extrinsic PEEP. What we understood before, that was the physiological PEEP, and now we shall understand is auto PEEP. Okay, so now let's understand what is intrinsic PEEP or occult PEEP. So this is a PEEP which is happening because of incomplete expiration. All right, there is some amount of gas which is still trapped inside the alveoli, and it's the expiration of that is not occurring. So this is very commonly seen in patients with COPD because their bronchioles are destroyed. Alright, the bronchioles are so weak, so they close at a really this early closing of the bronchioles occurring because of which there's trapping of air inside the alveoli, which gives autopsy. Okay, so what are the adverse effects of this autopsy? What happens? So similarly as extrinsic PEEP, it will also cause reduce in the cardiac output. The same mechanism. Okay, that autopeep is going to cause increase in the intrathoracic pressures because of which the venous return is going to be impeded and because of which cardiac output will be reduced and therefore the BP will fall. So this is also seen. This is one of the adverse effects of autopeep. The other adverse effect is that the increase in the plateau pressures. So what is the plateau pressure? So at the end of inspiration, the end inspiratory alveolar pressure is also known as the plateau pressure, and this pressures will be very high in the case of autopeep. Okay, and this will put the patient at a risk of volume trauma. Now, when you see that the plateau pressures are high, okay, you might feel that the patient's lungs are less compliant. So you need to differentiate whether this issue of high plateau pressures is because of autopsy or is it because of less compliant lungs. All right. Um, then how are you going to identify whether this is autopeep or not? How will you know that? So at the end of expiration, there is still some amount of flow of gas occurring. So this is a normal flow, graph, wherein the upper is the inspiratory, lower is the expiratory. So you can see as inspiration is over, expiratory flow has begun, and the expiratory flow is completed and it reaches the baseline and the inspiratory flow begins. So this is the normal flow graph. Whereas when there is autopeep, you can see that inspiration has occurred, baseline is touched, expiration has started, expiration is going towards the baseline, but before touches, there is still expiration has completed, you can see over here, but there is still amount of gas flow which is occurring before the baseline is reached. So this kind of graph can give you a hint that the patient has developed autopsy. Then the other method to understand that is at the end of expiration, you occlude the expiratory limb for 2 to 3 seconds. Now, what happens at the end of expiration is that the pressure in the alveoli will equilibrate with the proximal airways. All right. But in the case of autopsy, when you do this end expiratory limb occlusion test for 2 to 3 seconds, you will see that the airway pressures will start to rise. Okay, over those next 2 to 3 seconds when the occlusion is done, the airway pressures will rise. So this is suggestive that there is autopsy in the patient. Then the third method is that you will disconnect the patient from the ventilator circuit. You will disconnect the patient's ET tube from the ventilator for 30 seconds. Now during this time, you might be able to hear a wheeze, and during this period, expiration, this passive expiration is allowed. Okay, so this exhalation will occur. And when you reconnect the patient to the circuit, you will now note that the plateau pressures have improved, they have reduced. All right, you will see that there is improvement in the hemodynamics of the patient. So this is suggestive again that there was an autopsy which is now relieved. Okay, now what are the methods by which you can correct autopsy? So now, how are you going to correct this autopsy? So the first method is that you will reduce the tidal volume. You will use lung protective strategies of mechanical ventilation, and you will use lower tidal volumes, which is 6 ml per kg. All right. You will reduce the inspiratory time. You want to improve the expiratory time. So we'll increase the expiratory time by reducing the respiratory rate. The IE ratio, you should try to keep it more than equal to 1:2. All right. And external PEEP can be applied. So now let's understand how external PEEP application can help you in relieving autopsy. So what is happening in autopsy? There's collapse of the distal airways, the distal bronchioles, because of which there's trapping of air in the alveoli. All right. This early closure is causing the air trapping. So this same closing pressure, the pressure at which the distal airways are closing, the same amount of pressure should be applied in the form of external PEEP. So when this external PEEP is applied, it will prevent the closure of the distal airways, because of which it will facilitate, the movement of the gas from the alveoli outward. Okay. But when you apply this external PEEP, you have to be very careful that this external PEEP, the pressure should not be more than the intrinsic PEEP pressure. All right. Or else this whole exercise will, fail. Okay. It will be pointless. So the extrinsic PEEP that you apply should be lesser than the intrinsic PEEP, and it should be equal to the opening, it should be equal to the closing pressures. And it does, this will prevent the closing of the distal airways and facilitate the movement of gas outward. The other option, the last method is that you will disconnect the circuit, and this disconnection of the circuit for 30 seconds will facilitate the movement of gas outward, reduce the intraalveolar pressures, and reduce the occult field. So the main aim is that you want to facilitate alveolar emptying. So this is all about PEEP, physiological PEEP, intrinsic PEEP, and extrinsic PEEP. Next class, we shall try to cover another similar small topic. Thank you.